The bright morning sun rose over the quiet village of Umuoma in southeastern Nigeria. Birds sang happily as families began their daily activities. It looked like another beautiful day, but no one knew that trouble was about to begin. In one of the neat compounds lived Mr. and Mrs. Okafor with their 2 children, Chinedu and Ada. Their parents loved them deeply and worked hard to give them a happy life. Every morning, Mr. Okafor reminded his children to be respectful, honest, and obedient. He always believed that wise children would grow into responsible adults. Although they listened with their ears, Chinedu and Ada rarely followed their father's advice. They often believed they knew better than everyone else. Their mother gently reminded them that ignoring good advice often leads to difficult situations. The children only laughed and promised to be careful. Soon after breakfast, Chinedu and Ada hurried outside to meet their friends. They were excited to spend the whole day playing around the village. As they passed through the village square, an elderly man advised the children not to wander too far into the nearby forest. He spoke kindly because he cared about their safety. Instead of listening, Chinedu laughed and said nothing would happen to them. Ada happily agreed, and together they continued toward the forest path. The deeper they walked, the quieter everything became. The cheerful sounds of the village slowly disappeared behind them. After walking for a long time, the children stopped. They looked around and suddenly realized they could no longer recognize the path back to their village. Chinedu turned in every direction, trying to remember the way home. Ada held her brother's hand tightly as fear slowly replaced her confidence. Back in Umuoma village, the other children had already returned home. Chinedu and Ada were the only ones missing. Mrs. Okafor stood at the entrance of their compound, looking down the road again and again. Her heart became heavier with every passing minute. Mr. Okafor quickly gathered neighbors and friends. Everyone agreed to help search for the missing children before nightfall. Meanwhile, deep inside the forest, Ada began to cry softly. Chinedu finally realized they should have listened to the advice they received. Although frightened, Chinedu comforted his younger sister. Together they promised to stay calm and help one another. As they continued walking carefully, they met an experienced hunter returning from the forest. He greeted them kindly and noticed they looked frightened. The hunter listened patiently as the children explained everything. Instead of scolding them, he smiled gently and offered to help them return home. The hunter led the children through safe paths they had never noticed before. Hope slowly returned as they followed him. As the village came into view, Chinedu and Ada ran toward their parents with tears of relief. Their family embraced each other with thankful hearts. The next morning, Chinedu and Ada stood before their parents with humble hearts. They admitted that they had made a serious mistake and asked for forgiveness. Mr. Okafor smiled kindly and reminded his children that true wisdom comes from listening and learning. Every mistake can become a lesson when the heart is willing to change. The children walked to the village square to meet the elder who had warned them. They wanted to thank him and apologize for ignoring his advice. The elder welcomed them with a warm smile. He praised them for telling the truth and encouraged them to always choose the right path. From that day, Chinedu and Ada became more respectful at home. They listened carefully whenever their parents spoke. The children began helping with daily chores without being reminded. Their parents noticed the wonderful change and felt proud. Soon, other children in the village noticed the change. Chinedu and Ada encouraged their friends to respect their parents and make wise choices. The children worked together to keep the village clean. They learned that responsibility brings joy and strengthens the community. During the village gathering, the elder praised Chinedu and Ada for their honesty and positive transformation. Everyone clapped with joyful hearts. Chinedu and Ada never forgot the day they lost their way. From then on, they understood that listening to wise advice could protect them, guide them, and help them grow into responsible young people. Weeks passed, and everyone in Umuoma village noticed the remarkable change in Chinedu and Ada. The once stubborn children had become polite, responsible, and kind. Whenever an elderly neighbor needed assistance, Chinedu and Ada were always ready to help. Their kindness inspired many other children. Their friends asked what had changed them so much. Chinedu shared the story of getting lost and explained why listening to wise advice is important. As the annual village celebration approached, families worked together to decorate the community. Chinedu and Ada happily volunteered to help. The celebration filled the village with music, laughter, and joy. Everyone thanked God for peace, unity, and the blessings of family. The village elder invited Chinedu and Ada to stand before everyone. He praised their honesty, humility, and willingness to change after making a mistake. Mr. and Mrs. Okafor looked at their children with grateful hearts. They realized that patience, love, and good guidance had helped their children grow. Chinedu and Ada promised that they would always think carefully before making decisions. They would listen to wise advice and help others whenever they could. The greatest reward was not praise from the villagers. It was the peace, happiness, and trust they had rebuilt within their family. From that day forward, the story of Chinedu and Ada reminded every child in Umuoma that stubbornness can lead to trouble, but humility, obedience, and wisdom lead to a brighter future. Their journey became a lesson that the village would never forget. The next morning, Umuoma village woke up brighter than ever. Chinedu and Ada rose early before the sun, eager to begin a new chapter in their lives. Without waiting to be told, they fetched water, cleaned the compound, and helped prepare breakfast. Their parents looked at one another with grateful smiles. Their hearts overflowed with happiness. Soon, many children in Umuoma began following their example. Every Saturday became Community Cleanup Day, where everyone worked together. The wise elder smiled proudly and said, "True strength comes from listening, learning, and serving others." The villagers presented Chinedu and Ada with beautifully woven baskets as a symbol of responsibility and kindness. Wherever they went, Chinedu and Ada told other children how stubbornness had once led them into danger. As the months passed, Umuoma became cleaner, happier, and more united than ever before. From that day forward, Chinedu and Ada never forgot the lesson they learned. They discovered that listening to wise advice, respecting parents, and helping others always leads to peace, joy, and success. Moral of the story: wise children listen, learn, and grow. Respecting good advice can protect you, strengthen your family, and open the path to a better future.